Alright everybody, it's sketchbook time. It's time for me to do a tour of my sketchbook. I apologize if the video is very shaky. I'm literally holding up my phone in order to do this sketchbook tour. Normally I like to prop my phone on my desk over there and film it there, but this is a big sketchbook so it doesn't really fit there too well, A. And B, when I do that, it tends to be harder for me to know if the video is still going or not, because I was doing that yesterday and trying to film this and the video kept turning off. But I can actually see myself recording when I hold up my phone, so I'm just doing it that way to avoid any stress so I don't have to film this a bunch of times. I'm gonna go kind of quick with this video as well, because another thing is I can see how long I'm taking to say each and everything that I do, because I'm holding up the phone and I can look at it. So I'm going to try and be quick. So this is the front of my sketchbook. If you have any questions about any of these stickers, please comment down below. The only sticker that is actually mine, that's my own art, is this sticker right here. It's of 2D and I made it. It was on my Redbubble for a hot minute and then Redbubble said, no, fuck you, copyright, and then they took it down. But I bought it before it got taken down from my Redbubble. And then, yeah, I'll put a link to my Redbubble down below anyway though. But yeah, that's the only sticker that I made. The rest on the front and back are all other people's stickers. And if you want to know where I got any stickers, you can comment. Pretty much if you want to know anything that I don't say in the video, comment and I'll answer, because I respond to pretty much every comment because I don't get a lot of comments. So yeah, this is my sketchbook. These were my sketchbook goals. I wanted to draw more studies, which I filled in because I thought I did pretty good with that in this sketchbook. I did maybe 20 pages of studies within a 200-page sketchbook, and that might not sound like that many, but that's a lot for me because usually I only do like 3 studies in my sketchbook. I wanted to do more art besides just character design or characters, OCs essentially. I failed miserably to do more art besides just OC stuff. Like, I failed miserably and horribly. Oh my gosh, I apologize if you can hear background noises outside. I don't know what they're doing outside, but I deeply apologize. But yeah, I failed miserably to draw anything but my OCs. Fill up each page more fully. I did do that in this sketchbook. There's a lot less white space than there normally is within my sketchbooks. And when there is white space, aside from the very back of the sketchbook where I gave up, it's usually like purposeful white space. Then I wanted to do more backgrounds. I did do more backgrounds because I filled up more of the pages fully and shit. So that means that I was doing more backgrounds as well. However, oh my god, thank god they left. Anyways, because I was annoying. However, most of my backgrounds weren't quote-unquote environments. They were just color fill backgrounds. So I half filled that one because I kind of did it, but I kind of didn't. And then I wanted to draw daily. For the first half of the sketchbook, I drew daily for roughly 50 pages. I was drawing daily. So I did at least 50 days of daily art. Every day I drew something. However, I didn't complete it because after like 50 days, I kind of stopped drawing daily, but that was because I got into an art block, and art block is not an excuse. I don't really like using art block as an excuse to not do art for long periods of time, but I got into an art block, and then I started to say, fuck you to this sketchbook, so I really didn't finish it because I didn't like the sketchbook after that, after I got into an art block. And you'll notice that because in the back of the sketchbook, it kind of gets beat up and mangled, and I just had no motivation to want to open this sketchbook. And my biggest motivation to make art is the motivation to want to open my sketchbook and draw. And when my sketchbook is no longer a fun place to want to draw in anymore, then that's where my art block kind of comes in, because I do most of my art in my sketchbook. I don't do it on like loose sheets of paper or anything. I know you might be thinking, why? Like, that's probably bad. Your sketchbook has bad paper. You should use more finished paper. Just what I like to do, so fuck you. This is Bobby Hill, this sticker. I just want to point that out because you're going to see more King of the Hill memes later. Enjoy. Alright, the first drawing in here is actually uploaded to my Instagram, which I'll link below as well. So I will link my Redbubble below, and I will link my Instagram below. And we're going to keep going through the sketchbook to see what else I'll link below. But yeah, this is my OC Frost. He's supposed to be like a monster creature, which is why he has green eyes. But yeah, I really like this drawing, except I think the skin is a bit too orange. He kind of has Trump-looking skin, but that's okay. Also, you guys can give me critiques on any of the stuff in my sketchbook and tell me how I can improve further, because I want to eventually go to art college, so I'm open to any tips on how I can improve my art. But I am going to like tell you what I think is wrong with each drawing, and then you can say anything else I didn't mention. Another thing I don't like is the inking on this one's kind of a bit messed up. But yeah. Then this is an art trade that I did with the artist, Autism Anime Artist on Instagram. I'll link him down below as well. He drew one of my characters, and I drew his character, Alice Starling, right here. And yeah. And he came to me and asked to do an art trade, so, like, yeah, I just want to point that out. Usually, if I get art trade requests, people come to me. I don't really come to other people, because I don't like to ask people for art trades, because that seems a little bit cheeky. It's just like, oh, can you do an art trade with me? Just so I can ask them to draw my OC? That seems like something I wouldn't want to do. But if someone else is going to ask for an art trade, then I'm just going to ask them to draw my OCs because they asked. So, yeah. Then this was a page of noses that I did. I did a page of nose studies in both pencil and pen. And then, like, a bunch of days later, I said, oh, this page would look cooler if I colored the background. So I used my Prismacolor pencils, and I colored the background with them. And, yeah. And that's the kind of thing I was talking about. These two pages are a good example of what I was talking about when I said a lot of my pages have backgrounds, but they're more like just colorful backgrounds than they are actual environments. Then this is a drawing I did because it was getting close to Halloween, so I was doing a lot of spooky art. And it's a drawing I did of just a bunch of ghosts with like a black background, and then I did gel pen over it with a bunch of ghosts. And then this is kind of a no-no, not safe for work drawing, but shush, of my OCs. They're kind of naked, but shush. I don't want to explain. But I will say, this is why we don't let me stay up past, like, 11 and draw. Because whenever I stay up past 11 and draw something, it always ends up horrible. This is a drawing of my OC Olsen in various different outfits. I'm not really going to explain this too much, other than I'm going to say, for people that know, it was originally canon, way back, that Olsen was gender fluid. But now I've decided to make it not canon that he's gender fluid anymore. He just identifies as he, him, as a male, as a boy, the gender he was born as. But he just likes to dress femininely sometimes because he just dresses how he feels. And it's more like creativity and self-expression than it is reflecting about him feeling like a different gender or anything. So yeah, he's not any sort of other gender or anything. That's why I just wanted to kill out that the reason he's in like multiple different gendered outfits is just because he dresses how he feels and he dresses in what he likes. So it's more that than it is anything else. And then here we have my OC Rider, who's like a satanic, who's like an insane demon, and he's also like the father of my OC Mike, because he might have made some not too good choices in his life that resulted in him having a child. I want to eventually do a Plotagon story, and in the Plotagon story, I want to eventually explain my OC Mike's entire backstory. If you don't know what Plotagon is, it's basically just an animation app with presets, and I wanted to do that, but I wanted to explain my OC Mike story. And I already have a Plotagon video up of my OC Lavender's backstory, and Lavender is my OC Mike's mother, so that kind of explains some of Mike's story in that one, so I'm going to link that down below as well. If you want more information on my OC Mike, you should watch that video. I'm going to put that in the link below as well. So I'm going to be linking my Redbubble, my Instagram, and my Plotagon story that explains my OC's backstories. But if you have any other questions about my OCs, you can comment them on either the backstory video or on this video. Alright, then these are all my OCs dressed up for Halloween. So we have my OC Mike as the Joker. We have my OC Jessica as Harley Quinn, because the Joker and Harley Quinn are a couple. We have my OC Nick as Mike from Stranger Things. And then we have my OC Olsen as 11 from Stranger Things, because 11 and Mike are a couple. Then we have my OC Frost as Gerard Way, because he's emo, even though he doesn't dress emo, he just likes emo music. And then we have my OC Julian as Frank Sinatra, because those are both their favorite singers, so that's kind of coupley as well. So all my couple OCs are kind of in matching outfits, so Then we have, over here, we have Jack from Animal Crossing. If you guys haven't played Animal Crossing for the Nintendo Switch, I can't recommend it enough. It is such a good game. But we have Jack from Animal Crossing, because I played the Halloween event. And I'm also doing the Easter event right now in Animal Crossing. So yeah, because Animal Crossing is one of those games I'll get into for like a few days and then not play for like a few months and then play it again for a few days. So it's a bit of a hit or miss for a video game for me. And then here we have all my OCs, because this was around the time when on Instagram everyone was posting, oh, don't forget to vote, it's voting day, everyone should exercise their right to vote. I sound so stupid when I say it like that, but literally everybody was posting that, to the point where people who couldn't even vote were posting things about voting. So I was like, I want to do that too. I want to be involved. Wow. So I did this entire book. I did this entire drawing of all my OCs, and they're like promoting voting. I'm going to quickly run down what each and every one of these OCs' political views is, but I'm not trying to start a political argument in the comment section. These are fictional characters. Their opinions do not reflect my own opinions. Any other political stuff that I've drawn within this sketchbook is just me drawing shit. It's not supposed to reflect to the highest degree and the highest value all my political shit. I'm not trying to start political fire in the comments. If people are gonna have arguments about political shit in the comments on a literal art video that has more to do with art than it does with to do with politics, then first of all, A, no offense, but you are dumb if you're arguing about politics in the comments of this video of all things. And B, I more than likely will ignore your comment, so you're not gonna get me started. So there you go. Alright, anyways, number 1, my O.C. Olkson is... He's a Democrat, because he's obviously, I colored him in blue, but he's a Democrat leaning towards socialism, meaning he would probably endorse Bernie Sanders. Endorse? He doesn't have money to endorse, dear God. He would probably have voted for Bernie Sanders if he could have. Alright. Nick is a Republican, like, leaning towards Trump supporter Republican, because I think there's a distinct difference between I'm a Republican and I support Trump, and I'm a Republican and I don't support Trump, but he would be a Republican that supports Trump, which is haha ironic funny because he's also bisexual, so ha ha ha. What is that thing? It's like gays for Trump or something. I swear to God that was a movement that I found. Don't ask, don't know, but that was the thing. Alright. Then we got Olkson. We have Mike, who is the literal definition of being an independent, to the literal point where he could see both sides of the argument. I don't know if he would support Trump, but I do know that he could see both sides of the argument, and he could understand where both Republicans and Democrats are coming from. So I think he would be a literal independent to a T, and he wouldn't like really get mad at people if they had a different political view than him or anything, because he can kind of rationalize and see both sides of everything, because he doesn't like to strongly judge people. He's someone that definitely can rationalize with people who do things that a lot might consider bad. So because of that, he can see both sides of things. That isn't to say one side is bad and one side is good. That is just to say, like, oh, if a bunch of people said Democrats were bad, he could rationalize and understand how they were good people. Or if a bunch of people said Republicans are bad, he could still rationalize and understand where they're coming from, you know? I hopefully you get that. And then we have my OC Jessica, who is also Republican, Democrat, because I colored her blue, whereas I colored Mike like half blue, half red, because independent. But Democrat, but she is not a Democrat leaning towards socialism, and probably would not vote for Bernie Sanders. She would more or less vote for someone like Joe Biden, where she's basically just like, I am like just a stereotypical Democrat, and yeah, I'm not like anything stronger than being a Democrat. And she'd be into things like feminism and shit like that, so yeah. Okay, then here, something that doesn't have to do with politics at all, woo-woo. Here we have just a bunch of skeletons, because it was getting closer to Halloween. So I was just like, I'll do a bunch of studies of skeletons. And then I made the page look like this, because I thought that was aesthetically pleasing, to have like the little black going through the page. And then here we have some black cats on a red background, because that's also kind of Halloween-y, so ooh. And then I used some washi tape here, because cute. Here we have a bunch of swatches that I kind of just scribbled over. Here we have a bunch of studies that I did with a multicolored pencil. So it was like one of those rainbow multicolored pencils. And I did a bunch of, I don't know if I said swatches, but I meant to say I did a bunch of studies of like the human figure and the proportions of the human figure with a multicolored rainbow pencil. Here's a drawing I did of my desk. This is my desk now, but this is the desk. It's my nightstand desk. And I did a drawing of my nightstand desk, like, as a study to practice it, and then I just colored in the background in blue, because I thought that kind of looked cool if I made the background be blue, and I made the light be yellow as, like, the only contrast points for this, and then the rest is all black and white. Then here we have a study of legs, because I just wanted to practice drawing legs. Here we have a drawing I did for a story that I was going to pursue for my AP art, because I'm in advanced placement art this year, and I'm making a portfolio. When I finish my art portfolio for AP art, I eventually want to do a look through of my AP art portfolio once I get my grades for it this summer. So yeah, we'll see how I did on that. But this was going to be a story I was going to pursue because my AP art sustained investigation, or what's the other word that it's called? There's another word for it, but it's called sustained investigation now. And it was called concentration. It was called concentration before. So my sustained investigation or concentration for AP art was character design, and I was going to show that off by telling a story, but I ended up scrapping the story and just decided to use the OCs I already had, and like the story with my OC Mike, Jessica, and all them. This was a collage or a mood map for that story that I never pursued. This was me designing characters for that story that I never pursued. I really like the design for this character, and you also see him up here, so I may or may not use this character for something else. We'll see. Then these were more studies of a cup that my dad got me from his work, and it was just a cup that he got for free, and I just bring it around with me to school and I fill it with water. And then this was a page of me attempting to do the 100 heads challenge, but I was too lazy to do 100 heads, so I just did a page spread of like 6 heads or something. And yeah, I just did this for practice based on photos from Pinterest. I'm not going to link my Pinterest or anything down below because there's just too much random crap on there for me to justify linking it. But I do have some art stuff on there, art references on there too, but there's no way I can justify linking my Pinterest because it's also a bunch of random crap. This was more stuff for my story that I never pursued for AP art. More stuff for the story I never pursued. These are some characters that I don't feel like explaining because it would take more time than it's worth to explain these characters. If you'd like to know something about these characters, please comment. These were a bunch of notes for AP art. I was doing notes on a bunch of artists that we had to study for AP art. And then I made a piece based on one of the artists for AP art. And yeah, he was a really cool artist. He was like this artist that had autism, but he made these like really cool abstract pieces. And I just thought the video about him was kind of really cool. He was kind of an artist that nobody would ever know about, but I found him because I was just fucking around on the website that he gave me to look at artists. And I found that particular artist, and I thought that was cool. This is another art trade, the only other art trade I did with autism anime artists, and I'm still going to link him down below. So, yeah. Then here's something really funny. So, my friend was telling me about Poppy the Performer, one of my friends was telling me about the show Poppy the Performer, and I was like, what's that? So I looked it up on YouTube, and I thought it was the weirdest and worst show ever. It was like, when I first saw it, I was like, this is disturbing, I hate it. But then I couldn't stop watching it because I got addicted to watching Poppy the fucking Performer, and I got my other friend addicted to watching Poppy the Performer as well. And so I was like, I have to draw this. So I can't recommend watching Poppy the Performer enough. If you like my OC Rider, people who know my OC Rider, if you like my OC Rider and you think he's a cool kind of insane character, and you want like more insane characters like Rider in your life, you need to watch Poppy the Performer. It literally gives me so much Rider energy that it's not even funny. That's why I drew my OC Rider and the character from Poppy the Performer here on this page. Alright, and I actually wrote down lyrics to 2 songs. One song that reminds me of Ryder, and one song that reminds me of Poppy the Performer. However, both songs could also remind me of Ryder, because Poppy the Performer gives me Ryder energy already, so. And the first song is I Can't Decide by Scissor Sisters, and the lyrics are, I can't decide whether you should live or die, and that reminds me of Ryder. And then the second song is Ha 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 by Little Darky. You need to look up Little Darky as well, because Little Darky is one of my favorite musicians ever. That's a lie. I don't like him that much. He's one of my favorite modern day rappers ever, though. He's like right up there with XX as one of my favorite modern day rappers to ever exist. And this is coming from a person that absolutely hates modern day rap with a passion. But the way this guy does modern day rap, he's actually good at it because he's not just spewing out garbage lyrics for the sake of being modern and appealing to the masses. He actually fucking seems like he actually fucking has a message to send and like shit to talk about. But anyways, the lyrics are, look at me, I put a face on, wow. Look at me, I put a show on, when I go, ha ha ha. And the song is Ha 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 by Little Darky. And also, if you like clowncore, Little Darky and Poppy the Performer are like the fucking perfect things for clowncore aesthetics. And if you don't know what clowncore is, look it up. Clowncore is a good aesthetic. It's basically like kawaii aesthetics but with clowns. So look it up. And then this was more studies and stuff for that story that I ultimately never pursued for AP art. This is around the time I just gave up on that story and decided to pursue a different story with my OCs instead. Then these are a bunch of swatches that I did for some markers that I found. And then these are all my favorite foods for Thanksgiving because I was watching the Macy's Day Parade and I decided to draw this just because I was waiting for some food that I was making on Thanksgiving to cook. So I was like, I'll draw food because it's Thanksgiving. And there's like nothing else I could think to draw for Thanksgiving because I'm that uncreative. This is just an entire page of a bunch of random doodles out of nowhere. So we have my OC Mike being high AF. We have my OC Crocus, who's Mike's stepdad from Japan. Like, actually from Japan. Like a Japan immigrant. He immigrated from Japan to America when he was like 5. And then we have Crocus again over here. And then we just have a bunch of other random doodles. Then these are a bunch of drawings I cut out of my last sketchbook included in here because I never finished my last sketchbook. So I decided to glue the pages I liked from it in here because there were a lot of pages I absolutely hated from the sketchbook that I didn't want to look at anymore. So I just basically threw those, well, I didn't throw them out, I still have them, but I basically just put them away to never look at again and kept the ones I liked in here. This is a random drawing that I made by tracing like a random shaped thing that I found in school. We had like this ruler that made this weird shape when I traced it. So I just traced it a bunch of times and made this cool looking like fan type collage type abstract piece of art right here. And then over here we have my #1 favorite piece of art I've ever made in my entire life. And it is of my OC Crocus, and I did this with Prismacolor colored pencils. This is obviously a printed out version of it because the original version is hanging on my wall right there, if you can see that. But yeah, I made this and I actually uploaded it as one of my pieces for my AP art portfolio, just as it is. Well, I edited it a little bit, but I uploaded it as one of my AP art pieces for character design. A lot of people don't really like this piece because they think it's too simplistic and basic, but I love it. It's one of my best pieces I think I've ever done, period. And I'm standing by that statement. This is a piece of art that I made as a joke that I don't feel like explaining, but don't be offended by it because it was a 100% joke I made with my friend at like 5 in the morning. Crackhead energy level shit, because I do stupid shit when I'm on crackhead energy, and none of that stupid shit dictates who I actually am as a person and what I actually think or agree with. It's just crackhead shit I say because ha ha ha. And then this is just something I did for French class that it's kind of stupid, but I still got a good grade on it, so A. This is a drawing of my OC Crocus again and my OC Lavender, and they're like, this is what they do on Christmas Day because they're kind of poor. Lavender lives in the slums or the ghettos of town because she dropped out of high school, so she's kind of poor. And Crocus lives with her in the slums because he's like an Asian American, so I imagine like he just works at like kind of a low-end job. I'm not trying to be racist or anything towards Asian Americans, but I can't imagine that as an immigrant to this country, he gets like thousands of dollars. He works at like a generic job, so that's not helping much. Anyways, the reason they're eating KFC at Christmas is because it's actually a tradition in Japan to eat KFC at Christmas. Look it up, it's a thing. And I said Crocus would 100% do that every year. And then when he moves in with Lavender and they get married, he would totally bring that into Lavender's family. So that's canon that Lavender, Mike, and Crocus eat KFC every Christmas because it's cheap and easy and funny. Not that I'm saying Japanese traditions are funny, but that's just weird. So, yeah. Well, weird in like a haha, that's cool, but kind of funny way. Not in like a let's make fun of you way, you know what I'm saying? Anyways, then here we have what I imagine to be Crocus's mother and father, who would be like 80 or 90. They'd be in like their 80s or something, or their 90s, whereas Crocus is like 40 or 50, so yeah. And they would technically be Mike's step-grandparents, because Mike's real father is Ryder, who I was talking about earlier, but Ryder's parents, obviously, of course, would be dead, because Ryder's a demon, so that implies that Ryder's already dead himself, so Ryder's parents would be dead, so these are really, like, the only other grandparents that he'd have on his quote-unquote dad's side. And they speak fluent Japanese and everything, so yeah, they're kind of hard to talk to, because the only person in, like, Mike's family that really speaks Japanese is Crocus, because they speak kind of like really blotchy, bad English, just enough to be able to talk to people, because they had like no full intentions of learning the language or anything. And these are just other drawings of Crocus. And the reason they didn't intend to like fully learn the language or anything is because like they came from Japan and they're still very nationalistic to like their Japan culture, more so than Crocus is, because Crocus literally came to America when he was 5 years old, so he practically was embedded in American culture all his life, so yeah. Whereas they moved there when they were like in their 30s or 40s. So they only knew Japan culture for most of their life. Anyways, these were a bunch of drawings I did from Line of Action for like, they were 5-minute figure studies that I did from Line of Action. And yeah, I don't have anything else to say because they're not that exciting. These are a bunch of notes for a comic that I made for AP Art. I'm going to show you the finished version of the comic when I upload my AP Art portfolio and get a grade for it because it's in my AP Art portfolio. These are thumbnails for the comic that I did for AP Art. Thumbnails for the comic I did for AP Art that tells the story of my OC Mike. This is something that I edited based on a few sketches from my sketchbook. It was just an edited thing. And then this is from the song Body by AJR, I think that's the name of the song. I think it's Body Terrors. That's the name of the song. Look up Body Terrors. It's such a good song. I really like it. And no, for any of you in the comments wondering, I didn't find out about the song from TikTok. I found out about the song because Andrew Jackson Gillhead is my favorite singer. He's one of my top 10 favorite singers. I love almost all his music, except for a few songs here and there that are really fucked up. But I like 90% of his songs, so that's how I found out about it. And the lyrics that I wrote down from the song were, "I'm so sorry that you have to have a body," and that's from the song Andrew Jackson Gillhead's song. Oh my god, Body Terrors. And then these are like just a bunch of swatches I did, and then more thumbnails for the comic that I did for AP Art. And then right here I wrote down the lyrics to the song Telescope by Cage the Elephants. I also can't recommend you look up that song enough. So far the songs I've recommended to you are Ha 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 by Little Darky, I Can't Decide by Scissor Sisters, and Telescope by Cage the Elephants, and oh my god, what was the song I literally just got done talking about? Body Terrors. I might make a playlist of all the songs that I reference in this sketchbook tour and also link that down below. But anyways, these are the lyrics that I wrote for the song Telescope by Cage the Elephants. Time is like a leaf in the wind. Either it's time well spent or time I've wasted. Don't waste it. And I like that because I waste more time than I can count. Then these are just some drawings of one of my OCs, Sonia. And yeah, that's all I have to say. I don't really have anything else to say. I just wanted to draw her again because I literally only drew her once before. Then these are a bunch of art. These are 2 artworks that I made for my 2 characters' birthday. So it was Frost's birthday at one point, and then it was Nick's birthday. But Nick is sad because he kind of has abusive parents, so they kind of don't like that to celebrate his birthday. They kind of either ignore him on his birthday or they kind of get mad at him on his birthday because let's just say they don't really like the fact that he was born because he was a mistake. They weren't trying to have a kid, but they didn't abort him because Nick's family is hardcore Republicans, and so therefore Nick's entire family is extremely against abortion, and so therefore they don't believe in aborting Nick, but if they did, they probably would have. I'm just saying. That sounds so bad, but he's a fictional character and these are fictional stories, so yeah. And then this is just my OC Mike over there, and it says, "I am a mistake and a joke," because I thought that was funny because Mike is also another character that was a mistake of a child, but his mother loves him. His mother loves Mike, so he actually has a loving mother even though he was a mistake, whereas Nick does not. And then he's a joke because all my friends love to make fun of Mike. We love to do it. He's a little joke of a stoner character. He's just stupid and joke. I'm not going to explain that. I don't really feel like I need to explain these. If you like them, you like them. And then here we have Mike, but it's Mike, so but he's doubled because Mike needs to prepare for trouble and he needs to make it double. Oh my god, if you get that reference, you're my new friend. Thanks. This is my OC Oakson, but he's ready for the winter because it was getting towards Christmas time. That's also why Mike is in a Christmas hat right there and he's going bah humbug. Because it's actually canon that Mike hates Christmas because his parents are too poor to afford to get him nice gifts, and he's too poor to afford to get other people nice gifts. So he really doesn't have a good time on Christmas, a holiday that pretty much is about gift giving, and he can't afford to get or receive gifts. And then we have Olkson, who also is not too happy with the winter. Christmas is actually Olkson's favorite holiday, but, well, it's one of his favorite holidays. Like, Christmas and Easter would be his 2 favorite holidays. But he just doesn't like the cold weather because that makes him, like, really upset. Because he gets, like, depressed and all, like, sick in the cold, so he doesn't like it. That's why he looks all grumpy. And we just have a bunch of stars because I have a bunch of stars on my ceiling right there. And I decided to glue some of the extra stars into my sketchbook. It kind of fucked up the pages, so I don't recommend you try this at home, kids. These are a bunch of drawings of my OC Crocus and his cat Juno. Technically, the cat now lives with Mike and Lavender too, so it's also like Mike and Lavender's pet too. But it really belongs to Crocus because Crocus bought the cat when he lived in an apartment before he married Lavender. So it's really Crocus's cat. And if Crocus were to move out of Mike and Lavender's house, he would take the cat with him. So it's really more Crocus's pet than it is the rest of the family's. These are a bunch of notes for AP art. And then there's this thing that I made based on that, like, video that was going around YouTube at one point where it was, like, the glitch effects. But the TikTok glitch effect. But how to do it in real art and, like, in traditional art and not digital art. So I wanted to try that, but with my OC Rider. So I did that here. And then I just edited it to make it look even cooler. And then this is my OC Thorn, but he's wearing a mask because it was the new year. And everyone was talking about how even though it's a new year, that doesn't mean that the coronavirus and all the problems from 2020 are just going to go away. So I wanted to make an artwork based on that because I thought that was something. But it's actually canon that my OC Thorn is a Republican. So there's that. But I imagine him to be a non-Trump supporting Republican. Because as I said earlier, there is a distinct difference in the Republican Party, in my opinion, between people who support Trump and people who don't support Trump. To the point where some Republicans might say that if you don't support Trump and you're part of the Republican Party, you're not really Republican or whatever. But I just feel like there's a distinct difference. So I'm calling him a non-Trump supporting Republican because he grew up with, like, a father that was from the South. So he grew up with a father who had a lot of, like, Republican views. So that's kind of why he's Republican. He's also a vampire. So there's that. That's fun. I don't feel like explaining this because it kind of got too smudgy to really be something fun to look at anymore. These are some more notes for my AP art portfolio. This is a collage of a bunch of hand studies. A collage of a bunch of hands that I found in magazines that I just collaged. This is what the back of Ryder's hair looks like. It's really long because Ryder likes to have long hair. It comforts him because throughout his, like, life on Earth, he had really long hair because his parents were very abusive to him, so they never cut his hair. Like, ever. They pretty much neglected him or beat him. So, yeah. I don't know what it is with my OCs and having abusive parents. It's okay, though. Mike's parents are nice, except for Ryder. Ryder's not nice to Mike because Ryder, fuck you, he's a demon. More AP art notes. These were just a bunch of random sketches that I did. Just off the top of my head. This is an AP art bio that I did for one of my characters for the story that I wanted to tell. I decided it would be good if I did a bio artwork for each of my 3 characters, and I started with this character, Mike, because he's the main character of the story. These are just a bunch of notes I don't feel like reading. This is some drawings of my OC Jessica because I was trying to practice drawing Jessica's body type, and Jessica has really thick thighs. That's actually a body type. Most of the fat, like, in Jessica's body went to her thighs, and so she has really, like, big hips. It's not because, oh, I want to make her like a sexual character. She just has thick thighs. That's just canon. And it says do not lift, but I'm gonna lift it. It's her big booty ass. I hope you enjoyed. I just have that there because I don't want people from school to see booty ass because that's inappropriate. Then here we have more AP art notes. Then here we have a drawing of a tape dispenser that was on my desk because I got bored in math. Sorry. I'm not editing that out because fuck you. Here we have more drawings from Line of Action. These are some drawings that I did with highlighter and multicolored pencils for shading, and I really like how the highlighter sketching looks. So I might have to do more sketching in highlighter because I really like that. These are just some random swatches. This is a rough draft of a drawing that I have yet to finish, but I want to finish, of my OC Lavender, but, like, she's in a field of flowers and she's pregnant. These are some more Line of Action drawings that I did, but in crayon. These are some more Line of Action drawings I did, but in pastel. These are some more Line of Action drawings I did, but this time in charcoal. These are some more Line of Action drawings I did, and I went back to sketching with highlighter, but this time I did the shading with charcoal. I don't like it as much as with the colored pencil, I'll be honest. This is a drawing of a building where near where my grandmother lives that I just drew for practice. Like, this is another study. Then I was watching the inauguration of Joe Biden, so I literally decided to draw Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and Bernie Sanders because I was watching the entire inauguration thing because there was a lot of music and stuff going on, so I was just watching it, because fuck you. And I decided to draw the thing. And yeah, I really just drew these characters not because, like, oh, political stance, but because I was just watching them on the fucking screen, so I said, I might as well draw these characters for practice, because I need to practice drawing real people more, blah, blah, blah. And then this is a collage of a bunch of stickers that reminded me of my OC Mike, because on this page I drew my OC Mike but with long hair, because my friend said that my OC Mike would look cool with long hair, like if he was a little kid and he had long hair. So I'm actually considering making it canon now that Mike is like a little boy, had longer hair, not because he wanted longer hair, but because Lavender would try and save money by not bringing him to get haircuts as much, so she'd only get him a haircut like once a year maybe to save money, because they were really poor. Like, they're kind of better off now, but before Lavender married, before Lavender married Crocus, she was extremely poor, and she worked at McDonald's to pay for her fucking child, and her fucking house, and her fucking mortgage. So you can only imagine that she, like, was dirt poor. So they didn't get much stuff. But then once Crocus came in and his income, like, came into the family, she had more money to afford nicer things. They're still not out of poverty, but they're now, like, at the very least, like, better off than they were before, and in which they can afford decently nice things, and they can at least afford to, like, waste $20 here and there without worrying too much about it. But they're still never going to be well off, quote unquote. This is just me drawing the Bernie Sanders meme with the gloves, because ha 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 funny. This is a drawing of my friend's OC Heather and my OC Jessica, but if they fuse together, I'll link my friend's account down below, who has the OC Heather. I'll link her YouTube down below, because she posts some videos about her OCs on there. And then this is my OC Julian and my OC Mike fused together, and this is what started the idea that Mike would have long hair, because this doesn't look like Julian at all, it just looks like my OC Mike with long hair. This is a drawing from a scroller box that somebody that was sent in one of the scroller boxes that I got. And then I decided, cool, I want to try an art style similar to this, because it looks really abstract. So then I tried to draw like a clown in that style, and I really hate this. Moving on. Whoops, I guess that page fell out. Oh well. This is a drawing of my OC Rider for another bio one. This is probably my favorite of the 3 bios that I did. And it's just a rider. I really like this one. I think it's his colors. They're really, like, bright and stuff. Like the hair. This is a study that I did of the back of somebody's head from my science class, because I just decided to doodle their head instead of listening. Well, I listened and doodled, to be honest, because I do that a lot. Then these are some notes that I made on the comic that I did for AP Arts. These are just a bunch of notes that I did before I started the comic. Just to, like, you know, research some comics and stuff, to have an idea of what I wanted to do for the comic page. This is a drawing of some candy wrappers that were in a cup holder in my dad's desk, in my dad's car, and I decided to draw them as, like, another study. This is a draw this in your style for Strawberry Tootsie on Instagram, who I'll also link below. There's going to be a lot of links in the description, and I did it. I didn't win the draw this in your style, but whatever. This is thumbnails for another comic that I never ended up finishing. These are just a bunch of random doodles. These are some aesthetically pleasing swatches. This is my OC Ned, who is my OC Olkson's father, and this is just some drawings of him with, like, an aesthetic looking background. This is where the pages start to get more empty, and I started to say fuck you to this sketchbook, because I really don't care at this point. There was, like, 200 pages in this sketchbook, so I gave up after, like, drawing 100 pages of aesthetic shit. I gave up. I just wanted to move on to the next sketchbook. This is my OC Jessica and Mike. I don't know what they're doing, but they're looking into each other's eyes and being cute. This is the last bio page that I made that I have to finish. I'm not too happy with how it's turning out so far, but I'm just going to finish it anyway, because I think it'll look good if I finish it regardless. And it'll just be another piece for my AP portfolio, which I'm probably going to get like a 2 on that, because fuck you, I'm going to do so bad on my AP art portfolio. But oh well, I'm a junior, so I have next year to try and improve, I guess. This is just a random collage I made. This is another attempt at drawing the clown in that style that I wanted to do, because this reminds me a lot of clowncore. You should all look up clowncore aesthetic. It's so good. Clowncore and kidcore aesthetics are so good. This is, like, officially the moment in the sketchbook where I stopped giving 2 flat fucks about any of my art, and I just doodled a bunch of shit to try and finish it so that there wouldn't be as many white pages, but then I gave up on even doing that. These are just random doodles of my OC OCs. Random doodles of the Gravity Falls characters, because I used to be really into Gravity Falls. More AP art thumbnailing. More AP art thumbnailing for an AP art piece that I've already finished, and I will show you when I make my AP art portfolio video. More AP art thumbnails. Some hand studies. I'm not going to give you context for this. Fuck you. This is a character that I created that was supposed to be my OC Crocus's. I had to think for a minute. My OC Crocus's cousin. So he was supposed to be related to my OC Crocus, and they're supposed to be roughly around the same age. Except he's a psychopath. He's a psychopathic killer because, haha, funny. I was making a stupid joke story where the plot was like a psychopathic killers like attack my OCs, and I was like, ha ha ha, what if one of them was just related to Crocus, because that would be funny. And yeah, that's why he looks like Crocus. That's the only reason I gave you context, is because he looks a lot like Crocus, but he's not. I'm not going to explain this because this is the point in the sketchbook where everything is stupid. I'm not going to explain this because it's dumb. This is a drawing of my OC Derek because I remembered he existed for a hot second. I'm not going to explain this because it's dumb, but it's my OC Ned again. I'm not going to explain this because it's the dumbest thing alive. I'm not going to explain this because it's really dumb. But that's my friend's OC again, who I'm going to link down below to their YouTube. These are more AP art notes. These are swatches. These are some drawings, but I don't feel like explaining them because they're kind of ugly. These are some more AP art notes and thumbnails for one of the AP art pages for an art project I did. These are some hand studies, but there's literally only 3 of them because I got lazy. This is one of my favorite drawings I did in the back of the sketchbook, and it is of my OC Lavender for National Women's Day. And I just really like the facial expression that she's giving off here. She looks like really tired and really like exhausted with her life, which is pretty much how she feels because she's went through a lot of shit. Like, if you actually watch the Plotagon story of her backstory, then you know that she's went through a lot of shit. And I'm going to be linking that story down below. More blank pages because I said fuck you at this point. I think this is like one of the last drawings I did in the sketchbook because I gave up. But it is of my OC Crocus and my OC Lavender, and this is just them on their wedding day. And yeah, there are 3 things to note about this. One is that they're an interracial relationship. Like, they started dating, and it's between an American and a Japanese man, so that makes them an interracial relationship, meaning that it's between 2 different races. And the reason I point this out is because a lot of people tend to forget that, like, Asians are a different race or whatever, because most Asians are white. Not all Asians, because there are some, like the ones from Laos or whatever, that have a darker skin tone. Or maybe some from Korea or whatever too. But a lot of Asians have like really pale white skin, so you tend to forget that they're a different race because they're white like Americans are white. But just because of that doesn't mean that they're not a different race and they don't have a different culture and they can't get like stereotyped and stuff. But that does make them an interracial relationship, these 2. Second, it is actually 100% canon that they got married when Mike was 15 years old, which means that Mike went to his own mother's wedding, which is kind of cool. And third, because of the aforementioned second statement about Mike being at their wedding, it is 100% canon that if this was like a photograph that they had in like a photo album or something, that Mike would have been the one who took this picture, which is really cute. To imagine that Mike took a picture of his mother at his wedding, that's cute. These are just some random sketches that I did from a dream that I had that I don't feel like explaining. I don't feel like explaining this at all. I hope you enjoyed it. This is another AP Art sketchbook page that I did. And then all the rest of the things you're about to see are just notes for The Great Gatsby from my English class that I just put in here because I was lazy. More Great Gatsby notes and also a random doodle because I got bored during English. More Great Gatsby notes. More Great Gatsby notes. More Great Gatsby notes. Can you tell I gave up on this sketchbook? More Great Gatsby notes. More Great Gatsby notes. More Great Gatsby notes. Swatches. Swatches. Remember when I said that the King of the Hill memes would come back? The King of the Hill memes have come back. This is a random background character from the episode of King of the Hill where Piggy dresses up as a nun in order to try and get into a school, a Catholic school, and pretend to be a Catholic so that she can get a full-time teaching job in a school. and she wants to do it at a Catholic school. And one of the students at that school that she was teaching at, before she came clean about her lies, looked like my O.C. Olkson, so I edited their hair color so it was Olkson's hair color. And now we have my O.C. Olkson in the King of the Hill style. Is it cursed? Is it beautiful? I hope so. And the final meme that I'm going to show you is another King of the Hill meme. If you have not seen the King of the Hill memes, where everyone, like, does art of Hank Hill, but he's in a Lolita style, I can't recommend you look them up enough. They're funny as shit. But I decided to do that exact same meme, but I was like, what if somebody did Hank Hill, but he's emo? So then I did that, and it says, why would anyone do drugs when they could look at Gerard Way? And that is just such a mood. Ha ha, funny, I made a King of the Hill meme. Yes, I made this meme. And then these are a bunch of things I don't feel like looking at. And that is the end of my sketchbook. Thank you all so much for watching. Thank you all so much for sitting through this 45-minute video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. The reason this video was so long is because you just looked at 200 fucking pages of my sketchbook. Enjoy. Peace.